Hello, today I'll be discussing the book titled The Almanack of Naval Ravikant, which also goes by the subtitle A Guide to Wealth and Happiness. Now, we all know that claiming a single book of just over 100,000 words can grant you both wealth and happiness might sound a tad unrealistic. However, there's a particular reason I believe this book is especially worth exploring. Its author, Naval Ravikant. Who is Naval? He's an angel investor and entrepreneur from Silicon Valley. Born in 1974, he might not seem that old, but in the tech heartland of Silicon Valley, his stature is quite significant. He's invested in hundreds of companies, including household names like Twitter and Uber. Furthermore, he has a rich entrepreneurial background, having founded numerous enterprises, and big and small. In essence, he epitomizes the very definition of success. However, after reading the book, you might realize that among all of Naval's identities, that of a businessman takes a back seat. The portions about making money are not the central theme of the book. So what's the main crux? It delves into Naval's other personas. Firstly, Naval is an avid reader with an extensive list of books under his belt. He has a unique perspective on reading and learning. For instance, he avoids bestsellers, steers clear of book clubs, and shuns the pursuit of community validation. Naval also suggests not getting fixated on the number of books one reads. Such a metric is merely a vanity measure. Indeed, those with a broader knowledge base, those who think independently, always have an ever-growing list of unread books. Instead of fixating on quantity, one should always focus on new concepts that mirror emerging trends. And how do you know you've genuinely understood something? Naval's yardstick is simple. Explain it to a child. If the child gets it, you've truly grasped the concept. Secondly, Naval has profound insights into life itself. For instance, when asked about retirement, Naval asserts that retirement isn't age-bound. True retirement is when you stop sacrificing today for an imagined tomorrow. When you can truly live in the present, you've attained the essence of retirement. Or when asked about the right amount of money, Naval's advice is that it's adequate when you feel you can detach from the greed for more. How does one detach? Not by sheer willpower, but by setting strict boundaries for oneself. Regardless of your earnings, refrain from upgrading your materialistic lifestyle. Having enough for basic needs should suffice. Or when queried about what constitutes a resume, Naval believes it has nothing to do with where you studied or worked. A true resume is a collection of the adversities one has faced and overcome. As you can see, Naval truly understands the essence of life. By this point, I imagine many might be itching to note down these insights, thinking of how perfectly they'd fit into their PPT presentations. In reality, many already have. This brings us to another facet of Naval's persona. He's a social media sensation and is renowned for his quotable insights. If you've attended various local talks, you'd find that the youth often pepper their PPTs with quotes from a select few luminaries like Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, Steve Jobs, Larry Page, and then there's Naval. From this standpoint, I'd say that just for these golden nuggets of wisdom alone, the book warrants half an hour of your time. Especially if you feel like you've exhausted quotes from other prominent figures, Naval's words of wisdom are a fresh breath. As previously mentioned, the book lacks a central theme. It's primarily a collection of Naval's personal reflections. To forcibly derive a structure from it would do a disservice to its original essence. Hence, our next move is to delve into some of the most intriguing takeaways based on how they feel. I must note that the overall reading experience of this book is stellar. If you find this summary compelling, I'd strongly recommend riding the wave of enthusiasm and diving into the original text. Now, as we delve into the book, the initial sensation it evokes can best be described as life's memorandum. Why so? Each statement, when viewed in isolation, has the gravitas of a famous quote. To draw a rather inappropriate analogy, many of the quotes seem like epitaphs that could encapsulate an individual's entire life. And the range is diverse, spanning thoughts on wealth, life, happiness, and so on. It's as if all life's essential questions, those that we deeply care about, have found their place here. While it may seem fragmented, upon completing the book, a nebulous sentiment emerges. Regardless of how you interpret it, the essence seems clear. The book subtly communicates a profound truth about life, the nature of life itself. In Naval's perspective, if one were to sum it up succinctly, life's essence isn't additive, it's multiplicative. What does this mean? In the past, we often viewed life as an addition problem. Why? If I do something today and a little more tomorrow, I am continuously accumulating memories and value for my life. Isn't that addition? However, Naval doesn't see it this way. Life to him is more like multiplication. Every tiny action we take now multiplies like a math problem by a significant number, causing the overall result to grow exponentially. This might remind you of investment, right? Precisely. As an investor, Naval approaches life with this mindset. Investors are particularly attuned to the concept of multiplication. In the world of investment, making just one small right decision can yield astounding returns. For instance, the book mentions that a person making decisions with an 80% accuracy rate compared to someone with a 70% accuracy rate might seem like a minor 10% difference. Still, the former's returns can be hundreds of times greater than the latter's. This principle isn't limited to investment. It applies to various aspects of our lives. Why? Well, it's not hard to grasp. The truth of the world is that its genuine structure is layers upon layers of intertwined networks. In each layer, the resources you connect with vary. So every time you elevate your capabilities, you tap into a higher tier network, ushering in more and superior resources. If this sounds abstract, let's illustrate with a specific example. Suppose you are a watchmaker. With your current skills, you might only produce gears of average precision and land average orders. However, if you can create slightly more precise gears, not only will similar brands approach you, but you'll also gain access to a higher tier network. More renowned, even luxury brands will seek collaboration. Your overall brand value elevates, not just the number of orders. So, a slight enhancement in your skills equates to connecting to a higher and more valuable resource network. The incremental value this produces is amplified by this network, and the magnitude of this amplification often surpasses our initial expectations. In the book, Naval also shared another intriguing example. Imagine you're the world's best deep-sea diver, capable of exploring depths unreachable to others. What benefits might you reap? One might assume that diving deeper than others or undertaking more challenging tasks would simply earn you more gold medals or more competitions, but in reality, your gains would be far greater. Take this, for instance. Suppose there's a sunken ship deep in the ocean loaded with treasures of gold and silver. While others might only daydream about this treasure, you would have the chance to explore and claim it firsthand. As you can see, with even a slight boost in your abilities, you can tap into richer and superior resources that are out of reach for others. This concept isn't unfamiliar to many of us. In fact, it's reminiscent of university entrance exams. During such exams, many instructors often reiterate the phrase, "Scoring 1 point more can leave thousands behind." Isn't this just a way of saying that life operates on the principle of multiplication? Even a slight effort, a small advancement, doesn't result in linear rewards. Instead, the return on investment can exponentially magnify. If we dig deeper into this idea, the book subtly conveys an essential message. Never underestimate the power of small efforts. Often we ponder how we can accomplish significant tasks. Naturally, we assume that this requires substantial effort, unwavering determination, and seizing significant opportunities. Confronted with such daunting endeavors, many tend to be intimidated, leading to procrastination or inaction. However, Naval emphasizes not to overlook those seemingly minor endeavors in front of you. If you're willing to exert just a bit more effort than the next person, life's rewards can multiply, offering greater value. For instance, a concept dubbed the mediocrity dividend became popular a few years back. What does it signify when others are being perfunctory, cutting corners, or merely going through the motions? Simply being diligent and thorough can yield enormous dividends. Let me share a little story about diamonds. We've all heard the slogan, "A diamond is forever." The company behind this phrase is none other than the diamond industry titan, De Beers. Established in 1888, De Beers has a rich history spanning over a century. However, in recent years, a new contender emerged in the diamond industry, Lucara. This company has shaken the diamond world. Lucara is credited with unearthing the world's second, third and fourth largest raw diamonds, all discovered after 2015. To put that into perspective, the last time the world's largest diamond was mined was in 1905, 110 years prior. How could a relatively new company achieve such feats in such a short time? How could they extract larger diamonds that others failed to find? Many would speculate they had access to superior mines or resources. However, that's not the case. Their success came from a minor tweak, the use of a new excavation tool. Many other diamond companies used equipment that risked damaging larger raw diamonds. Lucara made slight improvements to their tools. While damages could still occur, the probability of causing damage was marginally lower. Just this slight probability edge led them to discover 3 giant diamonds, solidifying their place in the diamond industry. Speaking of multiplier effects, it's essential to mention another concept that investors like Naval take very seriously: compound interest. In his book, Naval specifically advised paying attention to the power of compounding. If you have some knowledge of finance, you'd understand the significance of compound interest. Let's say you invest $10 with an annual return of 10%. By the end of the first year, you'd have $11, the second year $12.10, and by the third year $13.30. These numbers may seem unimpressive. However, consider a 30% compound interest rate over 30 years. Your returns wouldn't be 10 or 20 times your initial investment. Instead, it would multiply thousands of times, amounting to over $26,000. Quite a significant sum, isn't it? In Naval's perspective, not just wealth, but almost all rewards in life come from compounding, whether it's interpersonal relationships, love, health, or habits. Take a company with 100 customers, for instance. If its customer base grows at a rate of 20% every month, it won't be long before the company amasses millions of users. Or consider nurturing a skill by practicing it daily. Even if you only dedicate 10 to 20 minutes daily, in the long run, this skill could very well become a side hustle. Maintaining this positive accumulation rate might lead to astonishing returns. Let's do a simple calculation. Suppose you improve by 1% every day. Raising 1.01 to the power of 365 gives the total progress you'd make in a year. How much is that? The answer is 37.8 times. In other words, a mere 1% extra effort sustained over time can yield returns far greater than you'd expect. As the saying goes, never underestimate the power of small, consistent efforts. Building on this, Naval emphasizes a crucial point. Given that life operates on multiplication and we value compound interest, foundational mathematics becomes incredibly vital. According to Naval, almost all successful individuals have a robust grasp of basic math. While subjects like geometry, trigonometry and calculus might not be crucial for everyone, particularly for those from non-science backgrounds, algorithms, probability and statistics are essential. Mastery of these areas of math sharpens one's sensitivity to numbers, compound interest and multiplier effects. Continuing on the topic of Naval, as mentioned earlier, one of the most profound insights Naval has shared is that life isn't merely additive. Our efforts can be magnified through multiplier effects, providing us with returns. Thus, we shouldn't underestimate even the smallest of efforts. Every effort doesn't just move you a tiny step forward, but opens up a new network of opportunities for you. In other words, life is like a series of invisible doors. With each step you take, you unlock a new door leading to a fresh realm. In essence, never be complacent, never give up, and never belittle those consistent efforts. That was the first and most crucial enlightenment this book offers. Life is multiplicative, so don't undervalue persistent efforts. Moving on, let's explore other insights the book provides. As mentioned, apart from his profound understanding of life and business, Naval is the epitome of a lifelong learner and an avid reader. He's particularly fond of reading and learning. Thus, let's delve into Naval's reflections on learning and reading. Naval once remarked, "Reading is my first love." He believes reading is the best way to build one's mental model. Given the importance of reading, how should one choose books, read them, and assess their understanding? Let's address these questions. Firstly, Naval believes that reading is about being true to oneself rather than competing with others. Racing to read faster or more than others is pointless. As Naval puts it, the better the book, the slower one should read and absorb its contents. Counting the number of books read merely satisfies one's vanity. Ultimately, reading isn't about boasting to others, but shaping one's intellectual universe. It enables clearer thinking and cultivates a unique perspective on the world. Therefore, Naval advises against focusing on the quantity of books read and fears no repetition. For instance, if you pick up a book and realize halfway through that you've read it before, it might tempt you to abandon it and switch to another. Naval suggests against such a switch. If a book evokes that sense of déjà vu, it means your brain is primed for another reading. Stick with it. Trust your intuition and follow your reading instincts. So when confronted with a multitude of books, how should one select the right ones? Naval has a solid recommendation. Start with the classics, like those in mathematics, science and philosophy. Mentioning math might make some shrink back, but math is crucial. It nurtures our thinking, making us more rigorous. Moreover, in this data-driven age, understanding the essence of math ensures we're not deceived by false data, enabling more accurate judgments. Furthermore, in addition to emphasizing mathematics, Naval advises reading the classics. If you want to grasp evolution, start with Darwin. To understand macroeconomics, start with Adam Smith. In short, begin your reading journey with early seminal works. Why? According to Naval, the value derived from reading isn't evenly distributed. The order in which one reads profoundly influences their thinking. The classics and excellent books you encounter early on lay a solid foundation for your entire knowledge structure. They ensure that, as you expand your knowledge, you have a sturdy base to build upon. In simpler terms, early reading experiences program the source code of your intellectual system. The books you initially read shape your preliminary thought processes, and once these are established, they're challenging to alter. Hence, how should one approach reading from the start? Opt for the best timeless primary sources in various disciplines, those that have stood the test of time and scrutiny. Avoid jumping directly into trendy new books. Lay a solid knowledge foundation by initially immersing in time-tested classics. To summarize our discussion on book selection, prioritize books that have withstood the test of time, as the books one reads early on typically exert the most considerable influence. It's akin to romantic relationships. Just as one's first love often shapes their perspective on love, the initial books one reads can mold their views on reading, thinking, and knowledge. All right, after discussing book selection, let's delve into the specifics of how to read. Naval's approach to reading can be summarized as follows. The essence of reading isn't to build walls for oneself, but to find paths. What does this mean? Many tend to treat books with excessive reverence, believing every sentence to be profoundly important. They feel obligated to understand each page thoroughly, regardless of its complexity. Naval considers such behavior as erecting walls before oneself. Shouldn't the essence of reading be about finding a path instead of creating barriers? If one doesn't understand a book, set it aside and pick another. Trust your instincts, reading what interests you. This process is akin to navigating a forest of knowledge rather than trying to topple every tree blocking your way. Find alternative paths. This approach makes reading a joy and creates a unique reading system which forms the basis of your thought process and knowledge structure. In short, don't wrestle with a book. Reading isn't a task, it's a pleasure. Don't resist your emotions. Make reading enjoyable. Remember, reading isn't about creating barriers, but finding pathways. As you traverse these paths, you'll discover new worlds unique to you. Now that we've discussed book selection and reading methods, let's establish a standard. How do we know when we've truly understood a book? Naval offers a simple criterion. Can you explain the book to a child? If they understand, you've truly grasped the material. Why? Children embody universal values and represent the simplest forms of knowledge. If a child comprehends, it means you've captured the book's most universally valuable content. Above all, beyond methods, the will to read is crucial. Naval emphasizes the importance of reading, stating that the difference between individuals isn't between the educated and uneducated, but those who enjoy reading and those who don't. To Naval, this reveals how vital reading is to life. This book contains numerous insights on reading, learning, and life. If you're intrigued by Naval or wish to gather valuable quotes, I highly recommend exploring the original work. It's an easy read, perfect for commutes. With that, we've covered the book's main content. After finishing this book, there's a very strong feeling I want to share with you. It makes us rethink what it truly means to be intelligent.